Mr. Om Manchanda joins us, CEO with Dr. Lal Path Labs. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. You're the envy of the town, given the valuations and the stock P multiple and the returns which you are getting. Expectations are running high with each quarter that you will continue to deliver.
Sorry, I can't hear you. What's the question?
No, my question is that you are suddenly the envy of the town because your stock is trading at a record high, P multiples are strong, and investors are convinced that the growth rate what you've maintained in the past, you will continue to deliver on that.
So I guess market sees a great opportunity in diagnostic space, and this industry is highly fragmented, highly unorganized. There are a lot of labs at the bottom of the pyramid, close to 100,000 labs. An organized sector is just about 15% of the total market. So I presume investors see a long runway in diagnostic space. So I guess that's what is getting reflected here.
With the diagnostic spaces, whereas the organized space is 15, some would argue 18, the problem is that the organized space does not have an entry, barrier. Anyone can create a pathology lab. Pathology lab does not need too much of investment. So would you say that the unorganized market, which is a large market, it will continue to remain like this, whereas large players like yours will gain some market share, but that will be incremental, that's not going to be transformational?
So I would tend to agree with you partially because obviously from a capital standpoint, it's very easy to enter this space. So entry barriers are not that high. But definitely, it's very difficult to build a healthcare brand which is built on trust. So we believe that in organized space, you need to create a brand which is well trusted, respected, and we being the oldest player, most trusted brand in healthcare. So we have definitely a clear differentiated proposition in the market, and quality is the most important thing in this space. So I believe though from a capital standpoint, entry barriers are not that high. But building a brand which has a sort of a pull is not a very easy thing to build in healthcare.
We spoke about volume growth last time, and you said the volume growth would be in the range, it would be in mid-teens. Do you see that changing, improving? How do you see your volume growth moving in this year?
So it does fluctuate on quarter-to-quarter basis. We are still focused on the similar kind of numbers. Last quarter we had a bit of a setback, especially in our northern India, because weather conditions were not very favorable, especially in the month of December. We saw extreme winter setting in sometime middle of December that impacted our volume growth. But on a long-term basis, I clearly see a growth driver in our industry would be volume. If you actually study the pricing trend over a period of last 10-15 years, it's been only one way, it's going down. And primarily industry is growing on volume growth, and volume growth is actually augurs very well because it really suits all stakeholders, because scale economy starts setting in and you have cost of testing going down, which actually helps us to reduce the prices further, so the patients or consumers get benefited out of this. But all this is also happening not compromising on the profitability of the business. So volume growth will continue to be our focus going forward as well. So as you rightly mentioned that our growth rates, our aim is to stay in mid-teens. Let's see how it goes without looking at quarterly fluctuations.
What's been the contribution of wellness this time in results? Is it a high growth area? And between wellness and preventative, which is a segment that you see contributing more going forward?
So before I start commenting on this question, I just want to mention that this wellness is a very difficult category to define, because we have a brand called Swasthfit. Normally people loosely call this as a wellness segment, but entirely you can't say it is wellness, because it's also upgradation of somebody who is suffering some disease, might have got upgraded from a few panels to a bundle test. So technically speaking, Swasthfit is nothing but a package which is a great value for money for the patient. It is actually a bundle package. So if I were to call this as a surrogate measure for wellness. So contribution of this segment is about 15 odd percent. It's doing fairly well for us. We grew upward of 30% this quarter. This particular brand or sub-brand we launched about 2-3 years back. So it's been doing very well, because this segment of the market where people are very conscious of health, they are going for preventive kind of tests. So wellness is one big area of focus for us in the business.
Are you in a position to command better margins because you are a B2C focused brand, unlike ThyroCare, which is a B2B focused brand? Because you are B2C, you would be able to get better margins. Is that as simple as I'm trying to make it sound?
In fact, to me, the entire brand itself is B2C, because at the end of the day, the report that you have in your hand actually is on a letterhead of Dr. Lal Path Labs. So let me spend a couple of moments on what we call B2C and B2B. B2C is that part of the business where we actually address both servicing the patient, which is collection experiences also with Dr. Lal, and report is also tested, or sample is also tested with Dr. Lal's. So the report is also on the Dr. Lal's letterhead. So technically B2C has two components. One is a service component, other is a testing component. But in B2B also there is a B2C itself, because the report that goes in the hands of patient actually is on a Dr. Lal letterhead. So let's say, for example, we get samples from hospitals, we get samples from independent private labs. So when the sample comes to us and gets tested, the report gets released on Dr. Lal's letterhead. So technically you can also say that's also B2C in a way. So as you rightly said, yes, our foundation, the entire business is actually built on B2C platform. We believe very strongly in talking directly to patients and to our doctors, and communicate values our brand brings on the table, which is quality, service, and timely delivery of reports. So we take a lot of pride that we have really built a differentiated offering which is built on B2C values.
Thank you for that, joining us this morning and taking us through the earnings this time. Dr. Manchanda, thanks so much.